Hello. I go by Dragonheart. And I am a Christian gamer. I spend a lot of my time exploring things that other people create. Specifically, I explore the large catalog of free-to-play games on Roblox, an online game platform that, for free, anyone can try to make a game on to share with their friends and the world. Recently I found this game, called Grace, published by the Farthering Few and made by Simon, a Catholic fellow from Poland. I don't find games often that have remotely any Christian theming on Roblox. So when I heard about Grace, I was very excited to try it. And let me tell you, Grace is an amazing game. So fast, I know. Let me explain a bit what Grace has to offer. Grace is a Doors-like, which is a gameplay style popularized by Doors on Roblox, where the players run through rooms in order to reach a goal, while monsters spawn to try and stop them. What sets Grace apart from other games in the niche is that Grace was built for speed. The movement was designed with maximizing speed and precision as much as possible for a fast-paced experience. You can sprint and slide down stairs and jump through obstacles. Grace has monsters too. There are theories about each monster and what biblical meaning they might represent. For example, the first monster is Carnation, a pink and yellow flower with an eye. To survive this entity, you have to keep running through doors until you find a hiding spot to slide into. If you live, you get the badge Jablon, the Polish word for apple. The common theory for Carnation is that it represents the first sin of eating the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, which is usually called an apple. All the other entities can also be theorized to represent sins. I was curious if the Christian themes or theories were easily recognizable within the game for other players, so I found two who were willing to answer a couple questions. I got to play this game with Frogworks, and later I also met FruityFrigiboa. They did not wish to be on camera, but agreed to share their thoughts with me through text. I asked Friggy if they recognized any Christian-inspired aspect of the game when he played it, and he did. Friggy said the thumbnail was the main giveaway, of course, and I'm pretty sure there's something in the Bible about carnations. You can interpret each of the enemies as sins just by their name. I believe Grace's story is one of fighting for redemption. To reach Grace, each door is another step through the trial, and each monster is a challenge that everyone faces. The sins and doubts we face every day. I believe each part of this game can be seen on a deeper level, building a story that can speak to a lot of people on a personal level. Grace can be a story of going through life's struggles and challenges, or simply a speed-running game. Anyway, let me go through all the entities in the game. Slight is a horizontal white eye with a blue glow. Looking at Slight causes a jump scare and leaves a white border and negative messages on your screen, which is confirmed to be an effect of Slight replacing one of the player's eyes. Looking a Slight second time ends your run. Encountering Slight gives you the eye for an eye batch. I theorize that Slight represents self-hatred, demotivation, and doubt, based on the text shown on screen when you get hurt by Slight. It covers the player's eyes to show the doubt of the player deserving grace from God, and makes it harder to overcome the trials set before you. Slugfish is a strange sharp-toothed worm with an eye in its mouth. White static is the warning, and you need to hug the walls quickly to avoid it, since it comes faster than Carnation does. Slugfish represents greed, consuming everything in its way. The player must use their patience to combat this. The Elkman is a dark figure with glowing light that stands in the way of the next room. You need to turn back and walk behind the closest wall between you and Elkman, or rush and go under it before it ends your run. Elkman has a similar name and even a deformed in-game model from the Goatman entity, the Satan character. In a similar vein, Elkman is a demon that blocks the player's way to grace. Being in its presence is so unpleasant that it melts the player if they get too close. Elkman's batch, Peek-a-Boo, has the comment, yet it has no eyes. With almost every other entity in the game being an eye or having eyes, Elkman's lack of eyes is strange. Heat is a red vertical version of Slight, with the opposite requirements. You need to look at Heat to avoid it ending your game, which can make finding the next door challenging, especially under pressure. Similar to Slight, being hit by Heat causes demotivating text to appear on the screen, with more of a theme of encouraging fear. The player must use their courage to face Heat and fight their fears. Dozer is a yellow face that appears on your screen overlay. After a second or two it opens its eyes, and ends your game if you have not stopped moving and crouched. Forcing the player to stop running and kneel reminds me initially of prayer. The player must swallow their pride, not panic, and bow before Dozer opens its eyes to cast judgment. If you do die, Dozer puts up the text, "Will you wake up tomorrow?" Proverbs 27:1 of the Bible tells us that tomorrow is not guaranteed, and I think Dozer is referring to this verse. If this is true, then Dozer is reminding us alongside God that we must not be foolish and prideful in assuming that we can fix any problems tomorrow. That we should swallow our pride and ego, as the snooze badge says, and obey God's guidance. Sorrow is a formless entity that has the warning of red fog and rain. You need to hide under a doorway or under shelter before red rain falls, shaking your screen. The name Sorrow hints to its meaning, being the pain and sadness that comes with living in a sinful world and committing sins. However, if you can survive sorrow, you get the badge "It's a good day." I theorize that sorrow pushes the player to keep going even when life is hard, to trust in God that you will reach grace despite the pain of trials. Litany is a new entity still in the testing branch as of this video, a white orb with a random number of closed black eyes, 2 to 10, appearing overlaid on the screen like Dozer. To survive when it opens its eyes one at a time, the player must crouch or slide, but can keep moving. To encounter Litany in-game, players must use the further perspective modifier for their run. Also, the word litany is a form of prayer or worship, a repetitive petition that clergymen recite or chant. The word litany is also sometimes used as a replacement for host or bunch to express a group of repetitive things. I theorize based on litany's modifier, name, and behavior that litany represents the necessary repetitive worship that we must obey in order to build our relationship with God. Another new entity under the game modifier, Doppel, takes the appearance of the player but in black and white without any features. It follows the player's movements exactly, and if it catches up to the player, Doppel inverts your controls and makes your screen black and white. It chases for 20 rooms unless you reach a hatch. The player can also use the flashlight to flash Doppel, making it look purple and black and unable to affect you for a moment. Since Doppel cannot kill the player, but only hinder their progress by affecting their controls, I think Doppel might represent sins themselves as a concept. The temptation to commit sins always following the player as they run away and try to reach grace. You must dodge and avoid them in order to keep going, but if they do catch up, God will help you get through them and keep going. Goatman is the entity that forces you to go through the game as fast as you can. If you run out of time before getting to the safe room, it will spawn. The world will appear harsh yellow and orange. Music will play, and Goatman will fly towards the player until it catches them or they enter the safe room. As I have already mentioned, I theorize that Goatman represents Satan. A monster you cannot defeat, only be protected from by God by reaching the safe rooms. Goatman wants the players to always suffer, according to the badge players get after encountering it. Players can delay its attack by flashing it with their flashlight, but the only way to be safe is by entering the hatch. God shows up after your run ends, appearing as a simple eye as he speaks to the player. In grace, God guides the players to try again to reach grace as many times as they want to play the game. God has several different phrases that can appear after a player dies. Notably, God reassures the player that he loves them and has made a path for the player to reach him. This clearly reflects the path people go through in life to reach heaven, fighting and running from sins and evil and following God's guidance. Grace is a significant game to me because of the Christian imagery and craftsmanship in the creation of it. Christian media doesn't have to be about pushing a message or values on the audience, especially not in video games. While someone like me can find all the deeper meanings and make my own theories about how each part of the game relates to my religion and relationship with God and my worldview on life and sin, anyone can play this game for the fun experience it offers, and I think that is beautiful. I asked Frog what he thought of the Christian theming of grace, and he said, "I think it's a really good use of it honestly. It feels like the fact that it was not blatantly obvious to me, at first, that it was even Christian themed, I think is a good thing. Because it means all the Christian theming aside, it is still a good game at the end of the day. Being able to create something good and share it with the world for a positive impact is wonderful, and I hope more folks in the sphere can join in sharing nice creations with the world." And for any other Christians out there who want to create, let this excerpt from Relevant Magazine encourage you. We must be open about our faith. That is why it is far more important for the filmmaker to be identified as Christian than his work be labeled as such. Even a pagan can make a movie and label it Christian. People have a natural hunger for knowledge. They desire truth no differently than they desire water and nutrition. We, as Christ followers, are the keepers of truth, all we need to do is tell it. When a Christ follower produces a film that speaks to biblical truth and morality, he has made a Christian film. The product itself should not carry the label, "The artist is the Christ follower." His fruit will bear his name,